Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. And December Rugby continues with the second round of the EPCR Investor Champions Cup as well as the Challenge Cup. And a bit of a disaster weekend last weekend for the South African team. So a lot to prove this weekend. However, a couple of the South African teams being back at home, should hopefully help, although it didn't really help the Stormers last week in their brutal encounter against Toulon. And they're going to be very much with a skeleton squad this coming weekend. So it should be an interesting weekend to see how the second sides respond. It's kind of a competition where a lot of teams basically just focus on the home games, and they basically sort of their thinking is that they can win their home games, probably be enough to sneak through to kind of the next round, and then they kind of go from there. Especially, some of the French sides, actually only recently we started seeing them send very strong teams, especially down to South Africa and the like. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of teams we see this weekend, but there's some absolutely great clash. We saw some really good clashes last weekend as well. That Racing versus Harlequins game was very good. Toulouse hammering Ulster last weekend. We saw Leinster beating Bristol Bears, for example. And from a South African perspective, we saw Hollywood Bet Sharks smash the Exeter Chiefs. A very good result that, but then not a good result for the Stormers and not a good result for the Bulls, who were hammered by the Saracens. And similarly in the Challenge Cup, the Lions also not getting a result they would have liked against the Ospreys. So before we get into the fixtures, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Let's have a look at, shall we? And things start off this weekend with Sale Sharks versus Racing, and that is tonight at 10 o'clock South African Standard Time at the Salford Community Stadium. And at the same time, a Castro will be taking on Munster. That should be quite a fun game to watch. And then tomorrow, Bulls kick-off proceedings. They're back at Loftus. It has been absolutely swelteringly hot down in Gauteng, and reckon tomorrow at 3 o'clock could be well north of sort of 30 degrees. So, I expect the Saints to really struggle, and I think the Bulls can get a result there. And if they do get a result, kind of puts their Champions Cup season kind of back on track. Ulster will then host Bordeaux. Bordeaux coming off a very impressive victory last weekend. Ulster with a very big loss, so an opportunity for them to try and respond. Leinster versus Clermont, I expect this to be quite a one-sided affair, to be honest, especially at the Aviva Stadium. I think Leinster will be too strong, and this could be quite a big score. This should be quite a fun game to watch. Leicester Tigers versus the Sharks, and I think the Sharks will take a relatively strong side over there, because I think it's a competition they want to do well in. After having won the Challenge Cup, you've got the depth. The Sharks, they've got the players. They're not dealing with an injury crisis like the Stormers, for example, so they can afford to take over some of their big stars, potentially rotate next week in the URC, and potentially get a result. So it'd be very interesting to see the Sharks side that gets named for this clash. Similarly with the Leicester Tigers, it'll be interesting to see some of the players, a couple of Saffers floating around the Leicester Tigers side, so it'll be a nice opportunity to play against each other. Then La Rochelle take on Bristol Bears, and the final game on Saturday, we'll see the Harlequins hosting the Stormers at 10 o'clock at night. A bit of a late one, that, and again, expected to be a very skeleton Stormers side. If we're looking at Sunday, then, it is Benetton versus Bath, and that kick was at 3 o'clock. It is then Stade Francais versus the Saracens on Sunday, and the weekend rounds out with Toulon versus Glasgow Warriors and Exeter Chiefs hosting Toulouse. Based on the fact that Exeter Chiefs really suffered last weekend, they need to respond, but it's a very impressive Toulouse side that they'll have to contend with. So I wouldn't say a big opportunity for the South African sides. I don't see how Stormers get a victory, to be honest. I think the Sharks maybe could get a victory if they go and play really well. The Bulls I expect, however, to win. If we look at the Lions and the Cheetahs, for example, not the best first round for the Lions, who went down. It was a very rotated Lions side. You can see very much focusing on this game over here, but they actually lost 30 points to 14, whereas the Cheetahs actually drew to Perpignan at 20 points apiece. So if you look at this weekend, your round 2 action for the Challenge Cup, it all starts tonight. Edinburgh versus Avon Bernay, and the only Challenge Cup match tonight. Then tomorrow is Montpellier versus Ospreys, Zebra versus Lyon, and then Lions will kick off against Power Section Palu tomorrow at 5:15 at the Emirates Airline Park. Again, expected to be very, very hot, and I think that they potentially could struggle. You then got Vans versus Gloucester, Cardiff versus Cheetahs at Cardiff Arms Park. There's quite a big link between the Cheetahs and the Welsh clubs. They've got that sort of Scottish relationship and the likes of that, so they've been out over there before. If they can get a result there, it'd be really, really big for them, to be honest. And I think they can do it. It kind of depends on which sort of Cheetah side really rocks up. And then Sunday to close the weekend off with the Scarlets versus Black Line. The Georgian team looking to continue and try and to impress. And then Perpignan taking on Connacht before the Newcastle Falcons close off the weekend with the Dragons. I foresee 2, maybe 3 South African victories. I think the Lions should win. I think the Bulls should win, especially at home. The other 3 teams all traveling. Maybe the Sharks get a victory. So I think two wins should be a minimum this weekend for South African Tides. Maybe a third one with the Bulls. Maybe a fourth with the Cheetahs. I just don't see how we get 5 from 5. I don't see how Stormers are going to go over there and get a result, to be honest. Not with the kind of squad and the issues they have. But let me know what your predictions are down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steve, and I'll see you guys next time.